Welcome to Glory Through Pain, a podcast where we explore the extraordinary power of divine intervention, the truth of the gospel, and miracles that unfold when we trust in God's deliverance. I'm Christy, and on this journey, we'll share stories that testify to the incredible ways God moves in our lives, often in the most unexpected and miraculous ways. From divine interventions that defy explanation to miracles untold, we will discover together that even in our pain, God's glory shines through. No matter where you are in your journey, whether you are facing challenges, seeking healing, or simply craving a deeper connection to God's power, this podcast is here to inspire you, strengthen your faith, and remind you that nothing is impossible with God. So sit back, open your heart, and get ready to hear stories of transformation, healing, and miracles. Welcome to Glory Through Pain.
I still think, a certain way, about things, and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
like 100% healed of schizophrenia just because I went through an accident, but the spiritual side and having belief in something higher than you will definitely change your ways. And then not only
Wow.
that, everything I went through, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
not just the accident, but being homeless, having nightmares, withdrawing in jail, and like I said, injuring my knee in high school, it was just a lot to go through. But once that accident happened and I saw that God was there for me and saved my life and all the other shit I had to go through along with that in the hospital and all the pain and all the thirst and everything. Yeah, I mean, yeah, spirit, having a belief definitely will help you. You know what I
Wow.
mean?
Well, I know each situation that I went through in life really helped my faith. And I remember praying for you. And right after the accident, I remember asking, do you accept Jesus into your heart? And I remember you nodding and saying, yeah. And then after the accident, I remember you talking about how you felt like they were the demons that you had to battle with. You didn't understand. Like, why do I got to battle with this? Sometimes I feel like if we're called to be great at something, or
Yeah.
if we're called to have a tremendous testimony, sometimes we have to go through that thorn in our flesh.
Well,
Um,
yeah,
that
definitely. I
and
mean, you look at most people or most great people, they usually have gone through some horrific shit.
Yeah.
I look up to Eminem a lot, and I like
Oh
Eminem a
yeah,
lot.
yeah.
And like when he was a kid, he was bullied a lot. And this one day, a kid threw a brick at his head,
Mm.
and he threw a brick at his head, and Eminem laid there in a puddle of blood for I think it was 4 hours before someone finally
Oh
called
my
the
gosh.
cops. Not to mention like all the other shit he had to go through for living in Detroit and not calling race out or anything, but being a white boy in Detroit, which is pretty rough
Right.
on itself.
Right, and trying to
And
rap
right,
in
right. Well
itself, right?
he became like, he became greater from it, you know what I mean?
He's
So
definitely he's like been deemed as one of the best rappers alive.
I think he's one of the best rappers ever. I think
Now,
him and Tupac are the best
yeah,
rappers ever.
yeah, I mean his lyrics are outstanding. The way that he carries himself and raps, it's crazy. It's crazy good. And so
Yeah.
this brings me to the point that you're also a talented rapper. What got you? I'm serious though. Like I actually listened to
Yeah.
some of your music, and I am blown away. Especially your all time, the all time favorite that I have that you rapped about was
What,
called
schizo?
Schizo, and I still feel like that song can go viral. But what got
Yeah.
you into rapping?
Um, I was like 12, 13 years old, and TD, my brother
Mm-hmm.
would always like call me up to the room because he'd write shit. And this is back when like Napster was around and
Oh
shit. So
yeah.
he'd download like a CD full of Tupac or whatever. And he'd actually rap over top of, Tupac's lyrics and everything. And he'd rap. And he was really good. He's really good lyricist. He really is. And I was like, I always wanted to be TD. ever since I was little.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna start, and I just started writing. And I don't know if you remember this, but there was this poem called Soldier that I wrote about Dad when he
Really?
got shot. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was in eighth grade, and I wrote this poem.
Wow.
My teacher like read it, and he was like, and he's my favorite teacher of all time, Mr. Davis.
I
Shout out
remember
Folsom
him.
Middle School.
History?
No,
Oh.
no. See, it's a Mr. Davis. He was a first year
Oh.
student, first year guy,
Oh,
and
okay.
this guy was really cool. And he read it out loud, and he's like, Callahan, that's like remarkable. So I started writing more, and then
Wow.
take you to like when I was like 16, 17, and I messed up my knee real bad, and I couldn't play football anymore. So I was like, you know what, I got to do something. So I started writing and writing and writing, and and then like when I was like 18, 19, Chad Harrell would like we'd go over to Chad's house and we'd be drinking and shit, and he'd like he'd pull out a guitar and just start doing it, and I started freestyling over top of it.
Wow.
So, and then from feeling misunderstood and
Mm-hmm.
from feeling like a different person than normal people had gave me so much motivation to write. And I feel like, well, this is my cross to bear,
Wow.
right? So I might as well do something with it, and felt like, people could relate to what I was saying, and, it just stems from
That's
there.
incredible. And some of your music, doesn't it have like 20,000 views or something? More than that?
What Schizo got like, I think Schizo got the most with like 21,000 or something. I don't know, but it's bullshit because, I feel like my shit is right up there with the top of the food chain. Like,
Well, it's
you
it's
got people.
definitely it's definitely amazing, but I know I try to get views on my videos and how hard it is to get those views. So
I
I
know
saw
it.
that as pretty incredible.
Yeah,
But I get it. I get it. You know, one of these times it's gonna go viral. That's what we say. Same with
yeah,
my TikTok.
yeah.
It's like winning the lottery, but dad did it, so it's possible.
Right, right, right.
I want to ask one more question. And
Okay.
it's, to somebody who I know through your accident you found gratitude and you were able to, by the grace of God, get put on the right medication to really help
Yeah.
you live your daily life. If you were to give somebody advice that's going through schizophrenia or any mental illness that hasn't been through an accident like that and got put on the right meds, what advice would you give them?
I mean, just hang in there, right? Because
Yeah.
that's all you can do at the end of the day. There's going to be people who eventually understand you. You know what I'm saying? You're going to
Yeah.
go through some hard shit. It's being a lot more understood nowadays because people got family members.
Mhm.
It's not. It's funny because it doesn't. You know, just because you're white, you get it, or just because you're black, you get it.
Right.
It's something that affects everybody and every family at some
Yeah, it
certain
doesn't
time. So
discriminate. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Someone who it doesn't discriminate. I don't know, man. Just hang on because that's all you can fucking do.
Yeah.
Find your niche, fucking hustle at it,
Yeah.
and do your thing. Because anybody who finds a niche, like even though it's probably not writing for people. It's probably not sports for people. It may not be like it may be different than music for people. But you find your niche. Maybe it's teaching people like you do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Teaching people different things that they learned in their life,
That's
and just
awesome.
keep on going. You know what I mean?
I love that. Hang in there. You should create a t-shirt. Hang in there. I like that. That's awesome. Well, you've inspired me, and just through everything that you've been through, I see you as just an incredible inspiration in person. And on days where if I feel weak, I do think of you, how strong you are, and how you've gotten through some of the most impossible moments, and it gives me hope when I'm having trouble. So I just thank you for being you, and thank you for being a part of this podcast. It was awesome. Um,
Coolio.
yeah, so you guys will have to check out Glory Through Pain, because now that you heard the man of the hour, you definitely got to read that sucker or listen to it on Audible,
Yep, yep.
or listen to the audiobook on Audible. and I'll have the link on my page